From Australia's only albino humpback whale to a great ape escape at the London Zoo, this is Trending Tuesday. Number 9. Ghost Whale. Migaloo is Australia's best-known humpback whale. He's also Australia's only albino humpback whale, but he is rarely seen. However, a photographer had some luck when the creature appeared in New South Wales last week off the coast of Byron Bay. He also captured pictures of the mammoth mammal underwater, some of the only photos ever thought to do so. It was unusual to find Migaloo traveling north. He normally stops at New Zealand before heading to Antarctica to feed. Did you know the word Migaloo is a word used by Australian Aborigines in Queensland that describes a white fella? Number 8. Swing and a miss. We've run a couple of stories concerning Harambe, the lowland gorilla who was killed at the Cincinnati Zoo earlier in 2016. Although Harambe is gone, the memes refuse to die. A recent example appeared last week before Game 5 of Major League Baseball's divisional series. Star slugger Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals was spotted at batting practice just swinging a bat that featured an image of Harambe and RIP on the knob. No word on why the baseball player made the tribute, but on a side note, Mr. Harper later appeared on a sports talk show where he was talking about inadvertently creating memes, but he mispronounced the word as meme. Ironically, much like Harambe, Mr. Harper has become a meme himself. Number 7. What is the definition of a bad day for a paleontologist? How about accidentally smashing a rare 200 million year old dinosaur specimen to pieces and then spending 2 years gluing it all back together? This happened to an amateur paleontologist named Jonathan Bowe, who discovered the fossil while strolling along a beach in Cardiff. At 9 feet square, the ancient fossil of a plesiosaur was too heavy for Mr. Bowe to move on his own, so he tried to chisel it free from the rock it was embedded in, and then it broke into about 200 pieces during the process. Mr. Bowe then spent the next 2 years gluing the pieces back together using off-the-shelf superglue. Later, he was finally able to reveal his discovery. The huge fossil is only 2 samples of its species ever discovered in the UK. Number 6. You know how Spider-Man uses super strong webbing that catches thieves just like flies? Well, it seems a real-life version of that webbing may have been created. A new super silk has been created that are far more tough and durable and conductive than normal silk threads. The substance was created when researchers fed caterpillars minute amounts of nanomaterials, including carbon nanotubes and graphene. Graphene is a single layer of carbon atoms, often depicted as atomic-scale chicken wire. It's around 200 times stronger than structural steel. Parts of these nanomaterials were integrated into the fibers spun by the caterpillars. This new reinforced silk is said to be far stronger than conventional threads and withstands 50% more stress. There are said to be many possible applications for these high-strength silk fibers, including being used in smart sensors and medical implants. Can you think of more uses? Number 5. A truly bizarre discovery was made at one of the richest deposits of Cretaceous amber in Myanmar. Researchers claim the ancient species is so unusual that they're not sure how it should be classified. This picture by George Poinard Jr. is an extinct wingless wasp found inside amber that dates 100 million years old. The creature seems to exhibit characteristics of several different insects. The strong hind legs are reminiscent of a grasshopper. The legs would have been useful for jumping or for pulling itself out of crevices into which it had burrowed. The creature has ant-like antennae and the thick abdomen of a cockroach. Its face resembles a wasp and possesses a jagged stinger, likely used to attack rival insects. Because the animal is so unique, an entirely new family that includes bees and wasps was created for it. Scientists believe the ancient species may have crawled along the ground, searching crevices for food or for a place to lay its eggs. Its eventual extinction might be linked to its inability to fly. Number 4. Some bad news for one of the world's true natural wonders. There are reports that the Great Barrier Reef has been pronounced dead after yielding to coral bleaching. But other experts contend that the reef is still on life support. Coral bleaching occurs when algae living in the tissue is violently expelled and causes them to turn white. Without the algae, the coral is drained of its nutrients and pigment. The condition is a response to changes within the environment, likely brought about by climate change. It causes ocean temperatures to become so warm that corals expel their algae. The Great Barrier Reef stretches over 1,400 miles, and it's estimated that over 90% has been affected by bleaching. A few pictures illustrate the before and after conditions of the reef. Areas that contained rich coral gardens in the 1950s have been replaced by algae and rubble. Even as recently as 2010, the corals appeared vibrant and healthy. Efforts to turn this situation around are estimated to cost at least $8 billion. Do you think that's enough to make the barrier reef great again? Number 3. Cryptid update. You might recall a few weeks back we ran an episode of Crypto Fun Friday that featured a cryptid called the Beast of Bodmin. It was a big cat rumored to lurk in Cornwall, England. Well, now we've got a follow-up story to that cryptid mystery. Jonathan Downs, an expert in unknown animals, claims that leopards and pumas are actually breeding in the British countryside, and data reveals that police are receiving reports of big cat sightings every week. An explanation might have to do with the Dangerous Wild Animals Act, which the UK imposed in 1976. That legislation forbade keeping potentially dangerous animals as pets without a license. It is possible that such animals were released by their owners or from zoos, as we mentioned previously. Do you think maybe the big cat cryptids are real after all? Number 2. Swimming with sharks. Now here's a story that makes you believe in miracles. A diver was trapped inside a small steel dive cage with a great white shark and escaped unscathed. It happened in the waters of Guadalupe Island off the coast of Mexico. Video of the incident went viral over the weekend. A shark-watching expedition was filming footage of the predator's eating habits. A 10-foot great white shark swam to capture bait placed near the cage, but the animal suddenly thrust forward, breaking a metal rail and entering the cage with the diver, who then somehow found himself outside the enclosure where he saw another 2 sharks circling underneath him. Now that sent him swimming back to the safety of the cage. Meanwhile, the boat crew opened the dive cage escape hatch and the trapped shark forced itself free and fled the area. There were some tense moments as the crew waited for the diver to emerge. Once he did, clapping, cheering, and many sighs of relief could be heard. Number 1. Great Ape Escape. A 400-pound silverback gorilla named Kumbuka made international headlines last week when he escaped from his enclosure at the London Zoo. He made a dash for freedom after a door apparently had been left open at the enclosure called Gorilla Kingdom, where the ape lives. The incident prompted officials to put the zoo in lockdown mode while they searched for Kumbuka, in effect making humans and animals fellow captives in the zoo. Around 100 visitors were locked into various enclosures while staff hunted for the gorilla. Armed police were dispatched to the scene to track down the animal, and that evoked memories of Harambe's fatal shooting. But this great ape escape only lasted around 90 minutes. Kumbuka was recaptured unharmed, and veterinarians tranquilized him before returning him to his home. As zookeepers repaired the damage caused by the agitated ape, Kumbuka was eating his lunch, and no doubt wondering how many memes he has thus far inspired.